welcome everybody to this very first Breakbulk News broadcast. We're very excited to have you join us today. A new initiative launched just to get you more familiar with the breakbulk industry and news. Today we will be discussing a quite important topic of how industry unique networks are a superpower in disguise. And joining me is Amanda Labie, who is the Vice President Operations of PFN, Project Freight Network. Amanda will of course be briefing you more on what the network is all about. And without further ado, I will hand the platform to Amanda to let us know what is the purpose behind Project Freight Network and defining your why.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for having me today. Our why, why PFN? That's a good question. PFN is a network. We're an exclusive network that brings members from all over the world together. So that's already one of our whys. We bring our members together to communicate, to build relationships. Our belief system is built on trust and transparency, and technology being one of the key elements in there as well. We believe that trust and transparency is key for building good relationships, and relationships are needed for working within the project industry. That is key, and I don't think that's news to anyone within this industry. It has been something that is proven always to be an important element, for sure. Yes.
Exactly, most definitely. It was actually one of the very first things that I was told when I joined the shipping industry in generally, that it's all about relationships and networks. So fully agree with you on that. PFN is quite a niche network though, and it focuses on doing a particular kind of support for its members. So maybe you would like to give us a few more details on how it operates in this respect?
Of course. So yes, we are a niche network. We also show ourselves as an exclusive network. For instance, we work with a 1 member per country policy. So that makes us exclusive, but the other elements that make us exclusive are also that we follow a quite strict application process for members that join. Next to that, we also operate with an NDA-driven membership agreement, which safeguards also the transparency element of the network. As I said before, our backbone is transparency and trust. We try to enforce that with certain elements within our policies. So the extensive application process and the NDA-driven membership agreements make it that they can communicate in a more open way and build stronger relationships in that way. For instance, during our annual member conferences, we also we work with the Chatham House rules, so that everything just stays within that area, and everyone can just discuss and talk openly and freely about the industry and share their knowledge together. So transparency, trust, knowledge, technology, all very important, and I think that brings the biggest value to the network. When we talk about technology, we always try to develop new technical platforms, mobile applications. There is a variety of things that we can offer our members, and that's all just to support our belief system and our philosophy of sharing knowledge.
The mobile app definitely very innovative, and I look forward to hearing more later in today's interview. But I do want to touch upon something. So you mentioned how exclusive the network is in the selecting process, rather application process. So what kind of members do you want within this community?
So the members are all project freight forwarders. So they have to be able to show that they are working within the project industry, of course. Next to that, there are certain elements within the application process that will be asked within a applicant form, but there will also be kind of like an interview process where members that are already PFN members will be able to ask questions so that they can kind of see and feel if they are on the same page when it comes to projects and how they operate with projects. It all boils down to the same, like I said before, trust, transparency, technology, and sharing information. I can't say that enough. Sharing the information, I think, is very valuable. Of course, it needs to be on the same page as the other members. So we try to make sure that we are all on the same page and that we all go towards the same goal. Our members understand that building relationships take time. So it's an investment of your time and being able to communicate openly with each other.
Definitely, and I guess actively contribute to this association and
yes.
community, this wider community.
Yes,
which sounds great. Going a little bit back in history, though, because we are also going to move on the vision going forward. So PFN was initiated as a directory, from what I understand, and then it evolved into this support infrastructure, which you just described for its members. What do you feel have been the drivers of this transition?
Like you said, PFN started out as PFM directory in 2004, and it evolved into work in 2016. And this idea came from our CEO and president, Peter Bauhaus, who has worked over 40 years in the project freight forwarding and on the shipper side as well. And he saw a need within networking and building relationships, that there were certain elements that were trying to be used, but maybe not completely utilized or used in the right way. So there need to be some steps within networking to actually make sure that you can build trusty relationships, and there are some things that need to be done to be able to communicate freely. Again, that is very, very needed, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons why PFN was set up, was involved into what it is today. And it keeps evolving as time goes on as well. The other thing that was needed for PFN to really become what it is also a technology platform, and those are one of the elements that we offer our members as well, is technology platforms, support on elements like risk and insurance support, stuff like that. Is needed to be able to build a strong platform, a strong network. Yes.
And collaboration between them. I guess it's more like the essential tools that they would need on an everyday basis to make the community better and their business operations better. That sounds absolutely amazing. Going on to the challenge of COVID-19, which obviously changed our world and the way we do business and everything as we know it, basically. And it did require businesses to adapt swiftly to change and enforce mitigation mechanisms or do whatever was necessary to adapt to this. How has this journey been within the PFN?
For us as a network, it meant that we had to, for instance, cancel our last year's members conference, which we have every year. We have a conference at least once a year, face to face with all the members. We had to make sure that we had everything in place to be able to do a live broadcast and to do it on in a different way, on a different platform. But that went all good and well. And I think it was not the same, because face to face is always better. But I think we did a good job, and it really gave all the members same feeling of coming together, sharing, and being able to connect again, to reconnect. On the other hand, we had to focus on being more visible online, not only just as the network, but also for our members, being able to create more visibility for them. And also just adapting to certain things, like having one-on-one meetings online and being able to give them opportunities to connect with each other and to collaborate. For the members themselves, I've heard so many different stories that things with members being able to help each other through challenges or during hurdles that they had, maybe with freight or with projects, and just really supporting each other through that. And of course, them and their own teams working as hard as they can. I've heard that some of them are doing good and are growing as before, and others are growing even with numbers that they didn't even dream of before COVID came, and now they are growing like crazy. So that is the other side of COVID, I guess, which is also good to be able to share with people and to be able to express. But yeah, I think it's been challenging for everyone. And I think everyone has had things that they had to adjust, maybe working from home, or maybe looking at different opportunities within the industry or within shipping itself. So yeah, everyone is doing really good and working hard and continue excelling. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
It definitely is, and it's always lovely to hear these positive aspects of COVID. And I think sometimes it just proves that indeed in crisis there is opportunity when you can be more creative and collaborative. So it was definitely great to hear this positive tones of what we have been through.
Yeah.
And now PFN has proved, as we mentioned earlier, over time that it's evolving according to how the dynamics of this industry is moving. Mm-hmm. But looking ahead, how can such networks remain relevant to accommodate the industry's constantly evolving needs? I mean, especially now it's such a disrupted period on many levels for this industry.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. But I think networks will always be relevant, as relationships will always be relevant. So relationships within the industry, within especially projects, because that's such a different a part of the industry, and so important to have human elements in there. I think it will still be very relevant to be part of a network, or networks being around. I don't think that will change. It might change in the sense that it will be more of a combined effort with technology, so that we will be using more technology to be able to bring people together, to have the right connections in place. I think that will certainly be in our future, that networks need to really focus on that and really look towards developing either their own or working with technology platforms. certainly, but the human aspect will never change in that we need strong and good relationships to be able to succeed in projects and to make sure that projects are successful, and that will never change, thank God. But it is very important for sure. And as PFN, I think we are just going to work forward and to become even more strong in the sense that we believe that it is so important to build a strong international team of experts in the project industry, and that has always been our belief system, and that will continue to always be our belief system, and that's with working together with the treaties. We believe is a very, very bright and very nice future for our members and for networks as well.
It sounds very, very promising, and I think it's exactly what the industry needs and the community needs. Networks like this, it is a unique superpower, and I think probably now more than ever we have realized it even more, and definitely going forward on this. It will be even more important. So well done on the amazing work that PFN is doing. We really look forward to seeing what the future holds. I'm sure it's very bright for your community and the network. Joining us today on this very first broadcast was Amanda Labie, of course, the Vice President Operations of PFN. I was Gina Panayotou reporting on Breakbulk News and our very first broadcast. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Amanda, for being with us today.
Thank you, Gina.
And thank you, of course, to everybody for joining, and stay tuned for our next broadcast.